Pra cima, joga a bunda 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 pra cima. Joga a bunda pra cima, 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 joga a bunda pra cima. Joga a bunda pra cima, 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 joga a bunda pra cima.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Craig Elston, Tony Sanchez coming to you live on YouTube, courtesy of SanDiego.Futbol. Happy to platform us for Season 8, Episode 13. I called this one Long Weekend. Then our buddy Puma said, I want to change the name to The Greatest Game and The Greatest Goal.
Ooh.
All right. I see where he's going, Tony. How you doing?
I am doing all right. You know, some of the best indoor soccer that I've seen in a while. And, you know, then we had Sunday. And Sunday happened. We'll talk about it. And I think it's a tale of two days, two different cities for sure in a very short amount of time. But hey, enjoyed the weekend and we'll get to it. But man, we're in the midst of this San Diego soccer season for sure.
Yeah, we're deep in the cut right now. And the Soccers coming off what veteran Nick Pereira, who's been playing the game since 2010, called the toughest travel of his entire career. And he spent 8 years in Tacoma, where they flew to everything. So keep that in mind. On the show tonight, the Soccers play two epic matches with epically difficult travel in between. We've got all the details and back-to-back recaps for you to start off the show. Then, around 6:45, special guest Nathanael Linquist, Natty Ice. He will join us to reflect on his first home start with the Soccers, the ups and downs of a rookie season in the MASL, and let us know about his origin story. Kid's got a unique origin story. He'll tell you all about it. You'll get to know one of the new Soccers coming up. In MASL news, St. Louis has entered the chat for Ron Newman Cup contenders. Maybe. Empire wedges their way into the playoff conversation. Baltimore in danger of fading out. We'll track it all on MASL News. In soccer's news, there's injury news, there's suspension news, and there's a single match preview this week as San Diego travels to Tacoma to take on the Stars for the penultimate time this year. That's what's ahead. That's the menu. That's Soccer's Overtime, Season 8, Episode 13. With Craig and Tony, Natty coming up. If you enjoy the show and you're watching us live, we are so thankful to have you here. We do this show to create a platform for San Diego Sockers fans to gather, to listen to discussion of their team, to comment on their team. We invite you to be in the chat, in the comments. We thank you. But if you're there and you could hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, that's your tiny way of paying us back, and it doesn't even cost you a single penny. Furthermore, you can hit subscribe, be alerted every time SanDiego.Futbol goes live with another one of their amazing journalistic endeavors. If you happen to be listening to the audio version of this show, do understand it's the audio version of a video show. So thank you for putting up with us talking through highlights you can't see. But if you can leave us a 5-star review, even better, a kind written review, all of those things are super helpful to the program. And with that, we are ready to roll, Tony. We've talked about it / bitched about it over the course of the year. I'm willing to say that I've bitched about it, and I'm going to bitch about it some more here tonight. The MASL hired an artificial intelligence company to create their schedule this year. Maybe they thought they were being innovative. Maybe it was a cost-saving measure. Maybe it was a little bit of both, trying to get ahead of a curve, whatever. I respect a small league trying to make moves. AI means always inaccurate. It's an absolute oversold piece of rubbish, essentially. Artificial intelligence, it's a glorified Google search in most cases, unless it's writing horrible essays or horrible emails for you or giving out factually wrong information. But they used that to make a schedule, and what was made was the most human unfriendly schedule in the history of the league. And frankly, Tony, this league has never had a very human-friendly schedule. There's always been weekend back-to-backs. There's always been tough travel. Nobody's flying chartered jet. Nobody's flying business class, never mind first class. Everyone's in the back of coach. Everyone's in rows 29 to 32, and with that as context, this year has been the hardest. And certainly for San Diego, it's been the toughest travel year in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, and it's tough on the athletes too, because again, I want to just put in mind that the people who are in this league are generally better than you and most of our friends put together in talent wise. Like, these are the real deal, the best in the world that you're going to see, and the fact that they're not allowed just a recovery period that's a little bit more humane, kind of going into that humanity part of why we love sports, right? Like, it just kind of takes away of that a little bit. And not just for the Sockers as well. It's happening across the league. Everybody was scheduled by this same mechanism. So 100% we'll concede that as well. But, at the end of the day, we have a front row to what's happening in real time with the San Diego Sockers, who have been through season after season. Every different way that this league has ever, shaped itself, the Sockers have been able to maintain success throughout it most of the time. And so it's, you see the changes, and I mean, just hearing what you just said off the top about Nick and just what he thinks is the hardest travel, just couple of hours that he's had in his career is it's incredible to kind of get that insight too. It's tough. It's tough.
Well, the rain, does the Sockers no favors, but it does me a gigantic favor because it moves the team from Encinitas to La Mesa Indoor Soccer, which is literally 5 minutes from my door to their door. So I got the chance to be at practice today. I'm going to get the chance to be at practice tomorrow. You get a little bit more insight from the guys in terms of the difficulty, and I'll just lay it out on the front side of the comments. And this isn't the league's fault. This is the club's fault. they could have taken a morning flight on Friday out of San Diego that would have gotten them into Kansas City around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, given them the afternoon and evening, giving them a team dinner, giving them everything. And instead, to save a few bucks, they took an afternoon flight with an extended layover that got into Kansas City way closer to midnight than to anything else. The team ate, by the time, as again, talking to some of the guys, by the time they got into their room and actually settled to try and sleep on Saturday morning before the Saturday night game, it was around 2:30. And then, you get up for a 9 a.m. walkthrough. You get up to handle your business, essentially. And the next thing you know, you got to go to the arena for a 6 o'clock local time game. And that was the setup for the Sockers and the Kansas City Comets. And we'll roll in the highlights of the anticipated first of 5 matchups between these two teams who both have one goal this year, which is to win the Ron Newman Cup. Kansas City jumped out to the first place spot in the table. Boris Pardo put to a very early test with a combination save opportunity there. As we show the highlights, as always, presented and collated by Soccer's superfan, Eddie Trujillo, who puts together these clip runs. Now, what we're showing you, very important because it wasn't really shown on the broadcast. If you back that up just a little bit, this is late first quarter. That's Henry Ramirez, two hands pulling Drew Ruggles' hair. 1-2. No call, no whistle, no card. That should be a blue card. Drew, highway justice, takes it to his own hand up behind the roadhouse, knocks down Ramirez and gets a charging blue card. But frankly, that blue card is on the officials for missing the call. Now, San Diego concedes this penalty. They concede it rather quickly and easily. If you can pause this again for just 1 second. Something I thought was fascinating, Tony, and you won't probably see it in the rest of the highlight reel. The Sockers defended 3 power plays against Kansas City. This was the first one. And as it was happening, I was screaming bloody murder in my locker room, in my living room, not my locker room. I don't have a locker room, because the ball was down in the Kansas City side of the zone and 3 Sockers were in the Kansas City defense zone pressing. I was like, wait a second, you're a man down. How do you press a man down? Well, this time, Kansas City spread them out. They moved the ball wide, then up the field. They find Marquez in the middle. The guy who is uncovered all the time is in the upper middle of your screen over there in the left corner, Nacho Flores. And tic-tac-toe. It's a goal for Kansas City. Interestingly enough, in the next 2 power plays, which I don't know if you'll see on the reel or not, San Diego did the exact same thing, and it worked. They forced Kansas City to waste 35, 40 seconds getting out of their own zone. They were able to collapse back and defend, and they took care of both penalties, including a critical one, with ease. So before I disparage, I just wanted to say, this was a calculated strategy by San Diego. First time it didn't work. The rest of the time it actually did.
Yeah, and you can see that there's been layers added to the San Diego Soccer's squad, and I think it has a lot to do with the players coming back and just kind of implementing just the experience of, making these teams work for it. If it means that they're going to go ahead and suffer a little bit more with a higher press because you have the ability to defend well up top, then you're going to take it. And they've been successful at actually being high on press, and we saw it too here with the Strikers as well. And last week, boom.
Well, San Diego gets their first one back on just classic Pereira. The hold up, the back heel. Mitchell makes the run up the middle. Mitchell, who was battling groin difficulty throughout this Saturday game and yet had to play, triple time. This absolutely could have been a goal. Great job by Mendez getting around the goalkeeper, trying to wall pass to himself. And then it became a goal at the end with Serta up top as the pressure stays on. And San Diego in the 16th minute, first minute, second quarter, develops themselves their first, not last, lead of the game at 2-1. Just good stick-to-itiveness here, and actually really good job by Cesar to dance his way in between two defenders, create the angle, shoot back to the far post. Lovely stuff. 2-1 San Diego. Almost 3-1. Deflected shot. Ejimadu gets lucky. Then counterattack. And this is just a tough one. You know, the end part of it is Mitchell trying for a slide tackle clearance, hitting it into Boris's knee for Mitchell's second own goal of the season. So he had scored one for each team at this time. Just a little bit ahead of that was Kansas City counterattacking, losing the ball to Drew Ruggles, who then immediately passed it to Lucia Tetsane down the middle, recreating the counterattack. Here comes 3-2 for Kansas City. And again, a little bit of a Soccer's miscommunication. This was in the final 5 minutes of the second quarter. They had Rion Marquez double-teamed on the far wall. Cesar Cerda uses a sidewall pass, and it just winds up being a centering pass to the opponent. And then as the club scrambles, they're a little bit out of position, and ta-da. Rion Marquez, leading the league in points, picks up the goal. Two Sockers chase into the corner. Nacho Flores, he's a vet. Little touch from Peterson. Marquez scores 3-2 Kansas City. On to the third quarter and more damage for KC. This one, Zach Reggett pointing in shock because he shot with his right foot. The left footer, Zach Reggett, plays it through, gets it back, then just a mistake. It's just another mistake. And Cesar knows. He made a couple of mistakes in this game. This one deflects off Leo, becomes a centering pass. Reggett knows what to do, even right-footed. And to everyone's shock, Kansas City has their fourth goal. They're not done. Boris will keep it at 4-2 for a minute, and then we get to a critical moment in the season for San Diego as Chad Vandegrift and Tavoy Morgan get tangled up. The two of them argue, and then Nacho comes in and touches Tavoy, and then Tavoy headbutts him. And Tavoy red carded out of this game. Subsequently, 3 more games added to his suspension. So it'll be a 4-game suspension for Tavoy for this completely unnecessary act in which he doesn't even react to a violent indiscretion. Somebody talked to him and he headbutts him. A couple minutes later, it's the far post pass, a very outdoor goal for Stankovic, who rises up for the leaping header here. Nice play by Ramon Palmer. But this is entirely an outdoor play right there. That's an outdoor play. And that's 5-2. And frankly, Tony, if we pause it for just a second, right here, this moment, I'm in the living room thinking, we're going to lose this game. Tavoy suspended. Got a great chance of losing tomorrow because I know what travel is coming up. What a disastrous moment for the San Diego Sockers. And we're obviously going to play out the rest of this, and there's some happier times ahead in this reel, but Tavoy can't be doing these things, and he did it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the Sockers need to just tighten up, and that's the easiest way. Just look in the mirror. Just look into the mirror and make sure that you are not costing your team in any sort of which way, whether it means you're, doing smart plays and not passing through the middle, or simply keep your hands to yourself. As elementary as that might seem sometimes, just keep your hands to yourself and you'll be taken care of for the most part, a majority of the time. But yeah, I had that same feeling as well, where, you just kind of see the season slip away in just an instant, right? There's no way out. We'll keep playing the rest when shots like this, everything's happening. Everything's going right for Kansas City. Everything's going wrong for the Sockers. It's not going to be pretty moving forward, but I think what we're going to see, is why this is one of the best games that I've seen in a while.
Yes, because that was the low point. That's why I wanted to freeze it. That was the low point. Look what happens. 2 youngsters get together. Mendez, a one-touch, both steal and pass forward, sends in Morales 1v1. You know what Luis Morales can do. He does it. 5-2 becomes 5-3. The quarter isn't out. Say we're getting there. Now Ruggles the other way. Shot just wide. Reyes shot cleared off the line. We're buzzing. Continuing. Nicky in the middle. Send it off to Mitchell. Great save. Second chance. Shot wide. Sockers are buzzing the net. They keep it alive. Great save. Ejimadu. Philip Ejimadu had a really nice game.
Yeah, I mean, this was a goalkeeper's delight on both sides as well. Like, you saw, like, one-handed, just outstretched. Like, that's, you can't teach that sometimes. That's just pure talent and athleticism.
But then in the 5th minute of the 4th quarter, again, stay with it. Cesar gets a second chance ball. As you see, Luis backheels it. Cesar sitting on the wall, sees his man, find his spot. Scored right-footed and left-footed. Luis Morales, 5-4. Now you're really feeling it. You're thinking Sockers might be able to do something here on the road. Kansas City has had some defensive issues. They haven't been perfect at home. It has not been a fortress at Cable Dahmer Arena. What's left to come? Under 9 minutes to play. Nicky doing Nicky stuff. Just fighting it through. And for all the great stops of Ejimadu, this one, whether he was wrong-footed, slightly off balance, it dribbles through him. This one gets through his hand and into the net. Charlie gets the assist. And Nick Pereira, a consistent offensive force. At this point, having to play every shift because Tavoy is red-carded and out of the game. So he has to go there literally every time the team is in the offensive zone. Nick is out there, and Nick comes through.
And this is a performance where everybody's scratching and clawing, but also having finesse and maintaining a confidence that, I haven't seen the Sockers really come up, and it's like the Phoenix in the middle just rising up. And, it was an intense game, as you're seeing here. Like, it got physical. This is what made it such a good game as well. They weren't playing around. They knew that they're going to see each other for 4 more games. And here, emotions boil over, and it's intense in there, and things like this happen, and it's part of what makes it so exciting.
This was one that felt like it could get called either way. The blue, however, does come out, and it comes out against Kansas City. Or pardon me, against San Diego. So the Sockers are down a man with under 6 minutes to play in a tie game, and that's where that power play defense really comes through. And then with 18 seconds left, Guerrero Pino, former Socker, nails one of his ex-guys to make it. And Phil Salvaggio challenges this and challenges his way to a blue card. What a great moment of coaching, because now the Sockers have a power play. And with just over 3 minutes to play, there's Leo, who had himself a hell of a weekend, blasting it in for 6-5 San Diego, Tony.
And the mojo's just flowing at this point, right? A mistake by Pino to put his team in that situation, and the Sockers just making sure to take advantage of it and making sure to take the momentum in that moment. And what to say about Leo, man? He's having a great season so far since his return.
He truly, truly is. 30 seconds. Sockers winning. Top of the arc. Shot didn't get cleared. 22 seconds in the middle. Can we clear it? No. Shot. Save Pardo. Incredible save through to attempt to clear. Only gets to offensive midfield. 13 seconds. Attempt to clear. Only gets to offensive midfield. Shot back off the crossbar. This one headed, not out. Marquez sends it back in. Francis scores. 2 seconds on the clock. What, 5?
Yeah.
Possible chances to clear?
Yep.
None of them make it out. And Kansas City, that rips a point out of San Diego standings right there on this goal.
Maybe caught ball watching a little bit there, like just go to the ball and make sure maybe you get fouled in that situation, but just it was bound to happen. Like, it unfortunately was bound to happen, and I felt it. The moment we didn't clear it with 15 seconds left, I'm like, okay, it's going to bounce in a certain way.
And then when it got to the corner wall, but it's Marquez, the tallest player on the floor, against Pee Wee, the smallest player on the floor, and the ball is in the air. not on the ground where Pee Wee could, get into it and fall over it. And that's this is the killer right here. You've got Mutt and Jeff going after the ball. And at that point, when Marquez is able to recenter, that's the goal. That's a point for both sides. Now we've split the points. Now we're going to go to golden goal overtime. The last thing you want to do when you've got a 4:15 call in the lobby the next morning to get back to San Diego. Nonetheless, here we go. Golden goal overtime for the Sockers and the Comets. First minute, Boris Pardo. That's a point right there. Call that a standings point save. Off the dome, by the way. Pardo says, please don't come out. The official says, maybe you should.
Yeah.
He's in Paul Savage. Ball comes. Boris is so mad because he knows, the coach knows, the trainer knows, but I don't think the backup goalkeeper knew. We'll ask him when he comes on the show that because of this, he needs to come in the game now. Yeah, look at that look.
Right now? Right now? Okay.
Here we go.
I'm glad he knew exactly where the gloves were.
So it's time for Nathanael Linquist in golden goal overtime to be in there. And you know what? There were no real shots on goal, but Natty did the job. He took care of things. There was the distribution. Good layoff by Nick. Good save by Ejimadu. Now Boris is back in the game at this point. Ejimadu comes out of his crease for a scrambling save to deny Mitchell the golden goal. We'll go back the other way with Boris back in there. That one's a chest save. Maybe a missed opportunity for Kansas City. 2 minutes left in overtime. It's Marquez in the middle. He misses. That could have been the game right there. Right here. Ooh, crossbar down and out. Leo, he can finish it. Minute 24. Oh,
beautiful save, man.
Wow. Leo doesn't miss in those spots often. This one, big save. Boris positionally sound. So we're going to go to a shootout. First shootout in years for San Diego. Sockers win the toss, so they get to go second. First up, Lucas Souza. What were you doing, kid? Right. Boris says, I knew it. I read this guy. I did my homework. That point to the head, that's like when he aced the spelling exam back in 6th grade. He's like, I studied last night, Mom. Now, Nick, not much there. That was
need to work on those, Nick.
Yeah, that wasn't much. Not a lot there. One other look. One soul roll forward. He's looking to pick a corner right there, but he needs to pick the other side. That's what Kreger always does in that spot. Craig Giles picks that other side. Okay. Second round. Dom Francis. 0-0. Love those kits, by the way. Yes.
Just a wall, man.
Look at the shrug. Just the shrug. What, you going to beat me with this? Thought you're coming with your A game, kiddo. Left foot safe, Boris.
Like you had 5 whole seconds.
Leo's turn. Leo Megs. Leo Megs Ejimadu. Just doesn't beat him. Megs him. Just cruelty. 1-0. So now a save ends it. But the best shooters go in the third round. That's the way things work. Here's Marquez, their superstar. You got to think Rion Marquez is going to finish this one. When Boris has saved the first 2, let's take a look. Sizes it up. Nicely done. Nicely done. Kept his weight behind it. He could have punched to either side, punches it to the right side. Look at the balance of Marquez here as he steps away from it like a field goal kicker and then just pow. So can't save them all. 1-1, but Sockers with a chance to win it in the bottom of the third. Interesting call, Luis Morales, to take the third round shootout, not Charlie. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Oh, it's not even on the clip. Luis missed. And then Pardo has to take another one to the face. And he does. Watch this. Schnoz save.
for the team. Incredible. That's positioning. I don't care how you say it. That's positioning. That's all the way.
I mean, it is. But it's also a dude taking 2 high-speed soccer balls off the face in a half hour. Charlie for the win. Done.
Boom.
Done. He knows. That's the calmness of an assassin right there. Yes, I must kill. I do so. Now I'm going to go get a protein meal. Charlie Gonzalez, 1 touch in. You can't read him. He smashes it. He's accurate. Good player. Good player, Charlie Gonzalez. Hope you can hang on to him. Charlie Gonzalez wins this one for San Diego, 7-6. Truly an epic game. An epic game, Tony. What a game. Game for the fans. I said that to you. I said that to everybody.
Yeah.
That's a game for the fans, not for either team, but for the fans. That's a great game.
Yeah, that's one where it's, as a wrestling fan, there's sometimes like, hey, what's a match that you can watch and get people into it, right? This is that for indoor soccer. It had everything. It had drama. It had good goals, great goals, just fantastic goalkeeping performances, even though somebody might say, what, 6 goals? Yeah, no, 6 goals. And it's still a masterclass of a goalkeeping performance on both sides as well. And I mean, Boris's performance, just to say, that's a goalkeeper's goalkeeping performance. Like, goalkeepers around the world can just sit there and enjoy what that guy did, just putting it on the line. And look, shout out to Nate too. Well, even if he knew or not, he did what he had to do. That's what a backup goalkeeper has to do. Just be a stopgap and don't lose it, kid. Don't get scored on. But overall, just a fantastic performance. You got to see all the stars perform. I do believe Zach Reggett did come out. That's why he didn't take a shootout at the end as well. So just outstanding. Like MASL, hold on to this one, pin it somewhere.
No, you're absolutely right. Zach Reggett was hurt at the end of the game. Didn't take a shootout, and theoretically that's the difference, right? Like if Zach takes that second leg, or if he takes the first leg instead of Nacho, and Kansas City wins it 2-1, they get the extra point. But then again, as we know, injuries are part of the game. And San Diego has dealt with more than any other team in the sport this year. So no sympathy coming from our side. Zach, I do hope you get well, and we'll see plenty of you down the stretch. I'm sure we will feature you on an upcoming Soccer's broadcast on either March 15th or March 29th. You can bank on that. And Zach is a great player in this league. He's a great human being, great player in this league. So exciting. Hope he is well. So then the game's over. It's around 9:00 Kansas City time, but the team has to shower. They have to change. They have to get out of the arena. They have to get back to the hotel. There's a team dinner at that point. The team dinner is closer to 11 local time than anything else. The club gets back into their rooms. This was confirmed again this morning around midnight, 12:30. Call time in the lobby is 4:15, which means obviously you got to get up before that. You got to get up 3:30, 3:45. So it's if you were like the ultimate human being, if you're Jack Reacher and you could just put yourself to sleep at any point at any time, right? You could have walked into the room at 12:30, laid on the bed, and immediately fallen asleep and gotten 3 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, and then you could get up. But most people that aren't just literary characters written in adventure novels can't do that, especially when they've played a professional sports game that day and won it. So do you get to bed at 1:30? Do you get to bed at 2? In the case of some guys, do you get to bed at all? Or do you turn up at the lobby at 4:15? Then you got to get back to San Diego. And I know if I was on the trip, I'd be like, okay, I'm sleeping on the car ride to the airport, and I'm sleeping on the plane. And that's how I'm going to get my sleep today. And we got a 4-hour flight from Kansas City to San Diego, so I should be able to get, after the service tray goes by after the beverage service. I should be able to get maybe 3 hours sleep on the flight. Well, that would have been great if that was what the Sockers had, but that's not what the Sockers bought. They bought instead a 2-leg flight from Kansas City to Denver and from Denver to San Diego with only 45 minutes in between flights. So literally there was a chance, but a chance that San Diego suspends or forfeits the game because they can't get back, because the wings needed to be de-iced in Kansas City, or there were headwinds into Denver, or their luggage didn't get off one plane and onto the other. There's like a myriad of things that could have happened that could have just canceled Sunday's game altogether. But instead, they did get on the plane. They did get back to San Diego. They landed around 10 o'clock. By the time they got out of Lindbergh Field, considering all the baggage claim you have to do and everything else, and, the team is carrying all their equipment, so everyone has to go to baggage claim, around 11 a.m. that they get out of Lindbergh Field. The game is 5 hours later. So even if you go home, you can only go home to drop off your bags, shower, and leave. Maybe grab a lunch, maybe kiss your son, kiss your wife, whatever. And that's it. Go back to the arena. Again, I'll repeat what I said earlier. Nick Pereira saying the worst travel in the history of his career. So now here comes Empire, a team that hasn't played all week, that has a completely empty injury report. Nobody hurt. And let's roll in the Strikers and the Sockers. And this was a Sockers lineup that was 3/4 guys who had been on the trip, and 1/4 guys who weren't on the trip and hadn't played all week and were stepping in. And it really felt like there were two teams. Dyerson Gratterall, and of course, our upcoming guest in a few minutes, Natty Ice, Nate Linquist in net instead of Boris after taking those 2 shots to the face. Tough one for the first goal. Gratterall picks out a corner. I don't think anyone stops that. I don't think Paolo stops it. I don't think Ejimadu. Don't think Banahene. 1-0. First quarter, here's crossbar for Charlie. Later in the first, Sebastian tries to hit both posts on one shot. Ding, dong. And out. 2 good looks for San Diego, but 1-0 at the end of one, with Natty making a nice save at the end of the quarter. Early second quarter, Childs with a chance, great one-handed scoop down. At this point, that's still DeLima in the game. Later in the second quarter, Orozco comes in just completely randomly and takes over. Here, good job just standing his ground by Natty Ice. Linquist comes away with it at 1-0. He's got a strong arm, too, that's for sure. Kid can throw. A little bit later in the second quarter, everything feels half speed watching this replay. The Sockers are just ground to dust, and right here they get worked around. Very simple play here. It's Andy Reyes, the ex-Socker, in the corner, gets it from Alami, sends it back to the middle. Stinson's there. No one's guarding him. Everyone looks at each other. Surrender Cobras abound, and it is 2-0. Empire with the lead. Just tough to have that many Sockers packed in and still get passed around. That's the sign of a tired team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that you can tell is trying to get warmed up and acclimated to having another match. And yeah, some of those players, like you said, were here waiting, but they're not at the game speed, and they're trying to adjust to their teammates because they have to adjust and make different strides, make an extra step to make up for the fact that they're tired until they can get better. And the Empire took complete advantage of that. To their credit, they knew what they had to do: come in early and make sure that they took care of business and took the shots that they needed. They got the bonus of Boris not being in as well. Nothing to say that with the performance of Linquist, but then you have more confidence to say, hey, maybe you don't know. You don't know the profile of a goalkeeper. Let's go ahead and take a shot where we normally wouldn't. And they were rewarded for that.
Yeah, Somo here for 3-0, and maybe slightly wrong-footed or not anticipating that shot, but still, it was ripped into the right spot. and the Sockers are down 3. Now, how can they get out of this mess? Charlie Gonzalez can help. That's for sure. He's one of the 6 best players in the league, 6 to 10 best players in the league. Charlie, from that left wing where he is so lethal, comes up with the goal finally for San Diego after getting shut out in a somnambulant first half. 3-1 is the score right here. What a shocker. Leo coming up with the assist.
Yeah, and this is the stars that you rely on, and they're coming through chattily with that clutch factor. It doesn't matter almost how many miles are on those legs. He has enough magic to go around along with Leo. So the fact that they were combining it and really kind of playing off of each other was great, as we see the return of Orozco. He's been here for a while now.
Yeah. Now, what you might notice is that the scoreboard is reading 0-0 in the first quarter. This is in the third quarter when this happens. There was a scoreboard malfunction. And during the scoreboard malfunction, as Rich Grady and Fernando Pena need to come over with our staff, Mary Beth is running over, Vaso is checking things out. This is where I truly do believe, and I'm going to give him just a slight pass. When you're tired, you're dumb. Like, the California Highway Patrol has the testing to tell you that a tired driver is just as dangerous or more dangerous than a drunk driver. And right here, Charlie, and just the whole team is gassed. And this is not even about them. They need to fix the scoreboard. But Charlie says something to Rich Grady. Rich tees him up, gives him the yellow, says something else. Boom. Double yellow on Charlie Gonzalez. There's your top player out for 10 minutes plus a dead ball, which we joked on the air was like the Minneapolis district attorney saying, please hold me in contempt so I can go sleep for 24 hours. I'm so tired. But nonetheless, even with all this nonsense, the Sockers come back. Juan Salazar with a run down the left wing, shoots wide, but it's a Wallace scorer. It comes out to Jesus Pacheco. Pacheco banks it in from the middle. Lovely stuff, 3-2. And just like the night before, you're like, it doesn't matter how bad we're playing. The Sockers can come back. The Sockers can win. 3-2, third quarter, okay. Things are pretty good. But remember, this team is on empty.
Yeah.
This team is on empty. And now here comes Cesar. Maybe with a nap or a Snickers bar, you don't do this, buddy. He gets low-bridged by Antonio De La Torre. It was a blue card, and then Cesar just kicks him. Just straight kidney kicks him.
Yeah, like that's literally, just playground stuff. It's not you're in the wrong sport. Like it's front wave is not set up with an octagon. There's no need to go ahead and, just make your presence known in such a way, and deservedly so. Like this is the consequence for that action.
The finger wag cracks me up, though. It's like, yeah. I kicked him. And if you do this to me, I'll do it to you. Bless you, Cesar. Love you, man. Love you. Love your family. 3-2. Down a man. Sockers kill the penalty. Almost kill Brian Orozco as well. Orozco was fine. He's young. He'll get back up. But it was a pretty decent crash for San Diego in this one. Now here's another just idiotic move. Baby wants to join his bro in the penalty box.
Yeah. It's like watching a slow motion piano coming down the street.
So frustrating. So frustrating. Seconds to go in the third quarter. Now there's going to be another power play. Now at the very bare minimum, even though it's the 8th ranked power play against the 1st ranked penalty kill, it's going to be 2 more minutes off the clock, right? And actually, almost a goal. Stinson hits outside right post, stays out. Sockers chance to tie. Orozco, nice save. Well done. Morales, second look. Sends it out. Leo, second look. Posts abound for the Sockers in this match. Now Alami down the floor. Half-hearted defending and a goal. At this point, people are having a hard time getting back. 4-2 San Diego, 6:26 to play. I'm not going to lie. At this point, I thought Empire's going to win this game in regulation.
Yeah, you could see it on the body language. You could see it on just everybody who's been paying attention. You're kind of like, this season's kind of like, okay, well, this is a little bit too much of a deep hole. And this is where I'm just like, all right, Sockers, you don't need to put yourself in such a corner to show your greatness, because we know how great you are. And let's get it taken care of elsewhere. But man, are they making it dramatic in their very own way.
Morales went off post there. This is pretty good with Charlie just basically talking to the camera. Love that low angle we've been bringing you at Front Wave Arena the last 2-3 matches. Whenever we're in 6 attacker with this amount of time left in the game, you know the game is all but over. But blue card against Empire for too many men on the floor. Unbelievably dumb. And San Diego takes advantage as Nick bends one that goes in and crosses the goal line completely before Robert Palmer clears it out, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, this, again, a game of inches, right? Elsewhere, that if it's a crossbar, if there's a post, that hits the post and goes out, according to the post gods in this game. But is the perseverance of the Sockers just kind of always just being a thorn on the side and eventually being rewarded as, you know, Empire just shot themselves in the foot.
And then seconds later, Leo with the steal and the goal of the year.
Leonardo.
Saw some folks online going, oh, rigged. Why is Orozco out of the net? Rigged. Like, no, not rigged. Oh, bossy.
Yeah.
That's a system right there, gang. And there's no better player in the league to defeat the system than Leonardo de Oliveira. I will say that for sure. There's nobody better at this. A poised steal and a knowledgeable shot than Leonardo de Oliveira. He never panics in those moments, Tony. He never panics. And that's one of my favorite calls of, frankly, all time. And it is one of my favorite goals of the modern Sockers. Minute 22. We're going to bring this up to Natty here moments from now. I know we're running a little long, Natty. If you're there, hang on. But that was a point-winning save right there. Minute 22 against Fabian. That was a save for a point to give the Sockers a standing point that they absolutely needed. They had a chance for all three. This is that chance. 40 seconds left. Orozco standing tall. Pereira no aim. We'll go to overtime. And, of course, within overtime, tragedy strikes right here. As Empire comes down the floor, a gassed Charlie falls over, and we thought the absolute worst at this moment. We thought potentially, I've said, many people have said it to me. A lot of people thought Lindsey Vonn in this moment. But, and Eddie sent me, I'm sure it's in this highlight reel. What happens here is Charlie lands on the ankle of the defender. He puts all his weight on the body of the defender, and that's where he twists, contorts, and gets flipped, which is bad, but it's not nearly as bad. Watch it right here. Right, if you can see it, it's right there that he lands on the leg of the defender. Watch it again. Right there. And he goes over the top, which is better than having your leg pinned underneath.
Yeah.
And having a major bone broken. But that's what everyone thought at this point. Charlie wouldn't let anyone touch him. He was put into the wheelchair. He was immobilized. He was taken straight to the hospital. And spoiler alert, there's been pretty good news since. But the game continues. Seconds left, a dispossession, an exhausted team. These are three players who have played 140 minutes at this point in 2 games. And honestly, they just couldn't keep up with the standard play. That's a very standard run down the field, but you had 3 exhausted players on defense, and it winds up being a Wallace Cora golden goal from Munir Alami. And for the strikers, a critical point, an utterly critical point, and a 5-4 win. A very excusable game where 1 point isn't that bad, Tony.
I wouldn't say so. And I think I told you right after, right? Like, if at the end of this weekend I counted 3 points, it's not this way that I would have drawn it up, but I would have still said, okay, that's that. I'll take those 3 points. All things considered, with the amount of travel, with the amount of, a quality team that they faced. They faced the youngest team that plays the fastest system in the league. That's, trying to find their first win to break a 3-game losing streak to salvage their season. I mean, the fact that they went and took the Strikers team to the limit should give a lot of soccer fans hope as well. It's like, okay, this still isn't the best soccer that we've seen or that we're expecting. There's still more in the tank, and this is them coming back into it and having a performance like that. I mean, the way Leo put the team on his back,
Unbelievable.
This man needs to be studied, replicated, but there will never be another Leonardo de Oliveira for sure.
Study him for science. Cut slivers and put it under the microscope. Well, listen, let's welcome in our special guest. I know he's got a men's group coming up at the top of the hour, and we don't want to make him too late. And unfortunately, Natty, we had 2 overtime recaps. It's not 2 normal recaps. It's 2 overtime recaps. So it went a little long. But here is a man who is a rookie in the Major Arena Soccer League and got his first chance to play from start to finish on Sunday. Natty Ice, Nathanael Linquist, our guest.
How's it going, guys? What's up, Craig? What's up, Tony?
It's great to have you,
Natty
Natty.
Ice. It's good.
You like that? Why not,
I like
right?
that. That was good. Yeah, it wasn't the first time I heard it. Probably won't be the last.
We keep making saves. You'll hear it all the time, brother.
It's funny. Phil, now I only go by Natty Light to Phil. That's my only name.
See, I'm giving you Natty Ice.
Natty, I like it.
Natty Light is also available, but I like Natty Ice a lot better.
I love it.
Well, let's get into it. Your thoughts on your first home start, your first chance to really play start to finish in front of the San Diego fans.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I think to be thrown into a game like that too, where it was kind of an emotional game, especially with everything that happened with Charlie, and to come back from 3-0 and to make it to overtime. It was a really cool game to be a part of and to experience. Not really what I would envision like a dream scenario for my first game. I'm coming in like, okay, like this is gonna be a clean sheet. We're getting this first game. This is gonna be the best first game ever. But it didn't turn out like that. But I was just happy to play my part and to be a part of this amazing team who we came back from Kansas City, and everyone was exhausted. I mean, we got home at like midnight, 8, in bed by like 2 a.m. and then we have to be up by 4 a.m. for the flight. So everyone wasn't firing at all cylinders at 100%, obviously, but it's just cool to see how the team came together and just fought the hardest we could and salvaged a point at the end of the day.
So talk to me through you getting told that, you're going to get this start as well. And just, is there any different preparation that you take for yourself? I mean, obviously considering the travel that you mentioned, right? Like, what are those just thoughts that are going through your head as soon as you know it's going to be my game?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously the game before, Boris gets hit in the head twice, 2 great saves. And so after the game, he tells me, he's like, hey, I don't know how I'm feeling. Like, just start to mentally get prepared. But so I'm like, I'm okay. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to stretch before bed, but I'm thinking like, it's Boris, man. This guy's a beast. He's going to be fine. But I'm still getting prepped. And then I wake up at 4 a.m. to Phil smiling, and he's sitting down on the couch. He pats down on the couch. He's like, come sit right here. And he's like, you better be ready. Like, it's a big game. Like, you're getting the start. So it's a mixture of just excitement as well as like, oh, dude, I'm exhausted, but let's do this. Like, let's just go straight into it. Let's see what happens. And so it honestly, like, it was so fun. It was a little bit more difficult, obviously, to prepare on the plane. So just got as much sleep as I could, got home, had a good meal, and then it was straight to the arena. So couldn't really prepare a whole lot, but mentally just visualizing, doing everything that I can, just watching film, watching strikers highlights before. I'm really doing whatever I can to give me some advantage in the game. But yeah.
Well, I mentioned it while we were going through the highlights as well, but the save you make against Fabian with 1:22 left in the fourth quarter, that's what you call a 1-point save right there. That put a standings point into the pocket for the San Diego Sockers, stopping a Mexican national team star in clutch time. I mean, what overall, as you look back, obviously you don't want to give up any goals, but like that's got to be a confidence booster right there.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good to contribute to the team who was working so hard throughout the game, especially right at the end of the game, to save us a point. I mean, it would have been, it would have really, I think going into overtime and being a part of that moment was really special. Obviously, I really wanted to go into shootouts and to be a part of that, but it definitely felt good to contribute in that way and help the team out, save a point.
And I mean, look, you're thrown into this match, you're thrown into this weekend, you're thrown into Saturday. We were looking at it like, were you surprised that you had to come in for that moment? The camera kind of did you in
on
for
Saturday?
That.
Listen, so I've never played indoor in my life, so I'm still like learning the rules. I probably shouldn't even say that, but
No,
I'm still learning the rules this season. Yeah, you guys know that. And I didn't know that if a trainer goes on the field that the player has to go out immediately. And so I'm like, I asked somebody, I think it was another rookie on the team, and they're like, no, Boris is fine. You'll be like, he's going to get up. You'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he's fine. He's going to get up. It's Boris again. And then all of a sudden Phil looks at me. He's like, all right, get in there. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going in. Let's go. Let's do it. I love it, though. I love getting thrown into things.
And you held your own. You held your own right there at Cable Dahmer Arena. I want to get to this, Natty, because I know we're on a little bit of a time crunch. But tell folks your origin story, because if they just look at the website, it'll say Nathanael Linquist, San Jose, California, Azusa Pacific University, and that tells this much of your story. Tell everybody, born and raised, and where you've come from.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wild question. It's kind of all over the place, but I was born in San Jose, California. And when I was a baby, my family moved to Uganda. And so I spent pretty much my entire childhood between Uganda and Kenya. I ended up going to Kenya for high school, 8th grade through high school. So I was back and forth between Kenya and Uganda. I'd have to take the bus out there. It's about a 17-hour drive. And then I'd be at school for like 3 months in Kenya, take the bus back for holidays. So I consider Uganda to be my home. I try to go back there every year if I can. But basically grew up in Uganda playing soccer with the locals. That's kind of all there was for me to do, is just me and my brother. There weren't a lot of Americans or expats or white kids in general. So really the only way to make friends was to play soccer, and did that for years. And I was never planning on being a goalie, but when I was there, I was the smallest kid and I was the one white kid, so they made me play goalie because no one else wanted to be goalie. And look where it got us, though. Look where we're at now. So it all worked out. But yeah, so I went to high school in Kenya, and then I randomly got recruited to play at Azusa Pacific in LA. It's actually complete chance. I made this highlight video on YouTube, and somehow Azusa Pacific saw it and recruited me out there. Played at APU all 4 years and played on a couple different teams. But then during COVID, I was actually on my way to go play with Charlotte Eagles in USL. COVID hit, and so whole season got canceled. So I ended up coming back to LA with really no plans. My family was still in Africa. And that's when one of my friends was moving down to San Diego. And so that's when I kind of just decided to move down to San Diego and see where life took me there. And yeah, I've been in San Diego now 5 years. Now we're here. Life is good.
You're not kidding, man. But it's just an incredible story. But for yourself, what was, I mean, like you said, to make friends playing soccer, it's a natural thing. But for everybody who is very cloistered in their very American existence, just what was that like, living in Africa, growing up in Africa?
I mean, as a kid, I didn't really know anything different. So for me, growing up in Africa was very normal. And then coming to the States was like this is crazy. Free refills on soda. I couldn't believe it. Dude, when I first moved to the States, I put on like 30 pounds in the first month because I could not believe how good the food was here. But that doesn't answer your question. Africa I mean, it's very free. You kind of do whatever you want. There's not a whole lot of rules. My parents they're missionaries, so my dad was like setting up a church and a school. My mom was helping out with that. So I was homeschooled for a couple years before I went to Kenya. And so I'd kind of just do my school and then I'd go and play soccer with my brother. And we had bikes or motorcycles and we just drive those to the field. And my parents were just generally trusting of the people there. Everyone's so nice and it's very much community oriented, unlike the States. I feel like here it's very kind of individual, which was a tough thing for me to get used to.
Yes.
But that's not to say it was all just, it wasn't easy at first being standing out the way that I did. I was like the first couple years I was bullied by locals, and I don't blame them because like there are a lot of people, foreigners, expats who come to countries like Uganda and they'll be there for a little bit and they'll kind of come with the intention of helping, but it doesn't really work out that way. And so there's a general mistrust, I feel like, with certain people. And so at the beginning, yeah, they're like, who is this kid coming into our lives? And so I was bullied for a couple years, but the interesting thing is I just kept showing up. I kept playing soccer. That's the only, like, I wasn't going to leave. And so they kind of just took me in, and some of those people who I didn't get along with at the beginning, over time became some of my closest friends in Uganda.
That's beautiful, man. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
That's fantastic. And I know you're on a short time frame too, but I know you would do some charity work as well.
Yeah. I have a nonprofit soccer academy in Uganda called Mungu, and basically what we try to do is, yeah, there it is. Oh, cool, you guys got it. We're trying to create opportunities for talented kids in Africa to get opportunities to play university or play professionally. So we provide sponsors for these kids in our academy that we've recruited all across Africa. And that sponsorship basically allows for them to be housed. So we have our own housing. We have our own pitch. We play in different tournaments all across Africa. And we're trying to get these kids seen, get them opportunities, raise them up in community, raise them up in faith, get them education and tuition. Because school here is, I think, because there's public schools, so kind of everyone has the ability to go to school. Out there, school is like, it's really a privilege to be able to go to school. And so not a lot of people do. So we're able to help these kids get good education, good people, raise them up in the faith, and get them opportunities to hopefully play maybe for San Diego Soccer someday. We'll see.
Have you heard from anyone in Africa that's gotten the chance to watch you play in the MASL on YouTube?
I have, actually. So I have two adopted brothers who live over there, and they were watching the game live, which was really cool. So they're messaging me throughout it. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. We're just going to ask you one more thing because I know you got an appointment, but
no worries.
Very, very basically, what is this sport, what has this experience so far of being a professional taught you about yourself and about the job?
Wow. I think honestly, coming into it, just the biggest thing that I've learned, I would say, is to just play your own game and stop caring what other people think about you. Because it's easy to get, for me at least, to get into this like performance mindset where I'm playing, trying to impress like my coach or impress other players. And I noticed that I just don't play my best when I'm like that. I play my best when I'm playing for the pure love of the sport and the joy of being there. And when I can just set aside what I think other people might be thinking about me or what I need to do, which, let's be honest, no one's really thinking about me anyway. But once I remove that, it's like, okay, I'm just going to play my game. So a lot of it is just getting out of my own head and just playing the game and having fun with it. And it's been a cool experience coming in as the third goalie and really not expecting I wasn't expecting to play a whole lot this season, and it's just cool like how things have happened. Obviously not cool that Boris got hit in the head and Chris broke his finger, but to be able to have this opportunity to play games and get in minutes and get experience from never playing before, and be a part of like the fan culture and really travel with the team and integrate, it's been a huge blessing, man. I'm just excited to keep growing and keep learning and getting more time on the field.
Well, you've really been a revelation. Your story is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing it with us and with our Sockers fans and everybody who tunes in on YouTube down the road to watch it. It's pretty inspirational, man. And I could tell from the first day I met you, you were a high character individual. Whether you're going to be with me with Super Sockers down the stretch a little bit more, trying to win that trophy, or whether we're trying.
I'm surprised I'm still in the running.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, there's been so many injuries.
Yeah.
We've been filling your spots with like 9-year-old kids for the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, you're still wide open. But no, we really appreciate you. I know the team does. I'll see you at training tomorrow out at La Mesa Indoor. But thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. That was fun. Have a great night, guys.
Natty Ice, Nate Linquist joining us right there. That was pretty damn cool, man.
I want to talk to him for hours now. Like, not that I didn't want before, but like literally like it got me a little emotional too. Just
me too.
Like those kids, man, like just knowing just what a similar but different upbringing across the street down here in Tijuana of like education being such a privilege and just wanting to play soccer. And then him as the outcast who again, like just kind of for like me too, like I came in as the gordito, right? Like you're automatically the goalkeeper. If you're the short kid, you're the one that's a little different, you're automatically the goalkeeper. And from then it's just kind of proving everybody wrong. You're the guy that's gonna, you're gonna go ahead and just look down on us. Now let me show you how good of a goalkeeper. He's such a goalkeeping personality too, a free spirit, and it's a really good dude, man. Like that filled the cup right now, man.
It really did. You meet some of the coolest people in this sport. You know, you really, truly do. You meet some really cool people, and that is an amazing story. A family of missionaries taken out of an American life, brought into an African life, not knowing anything differently, but, you know, for, all those blancos out there to be put into the opposite situation, to be put into a spot where you're a white speck in a black world, and that it's going to come back at you the other way, and to learn your way through that. And also what he had to say about just how individualistic the United States society is compared to what he's grown up with the togetherness, which is the nature of need, that when humans need, they band together to accomplish goals. And when you have what you want, you're allowed to be selfish and individualistic and do something for yourself. So, yeah, check out the Mungu website. Thank you so much. Help out Natty and help out those kids down in Africa. And, yeah, man.
Did we also accidentally just find the San Diego Soccer's Right to Dream Academy? Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't that be cool? Where's our Denmark branch? Do we have a Dane that we're waiting to?
I think we can have some Brazilian outposts out there. I could see that. Certainly some Mexican ones.
Certainly some Mexican ones. That's for sure. All right. Incredible stuff. Really, really, really cool. So glad to get the chance to chat to Nate Linquist and to bring that to you. Okay, let's wrap up the show as we do until we get to the end, and that is MASL News. We'll start things off by taking a look at everything that happened around the league. Now, when I bitch about the Sockers travel, and you said it too, Tony, I know it's not exclusive to San Diego. I know just about every team has somewhere on their schedule some ridiculous trip. And I mean, Kansas City did the Baltimore Utica. A lot of teams have done the Baltimore Utica 1-2. That sucks with the 8-hour bus ride in between and everything it's entailed. Milwaukee had theirs. this weekend. They flew to Tacoma, which is a nice long flight, for a Sunday evening game against the Stars, which they barely won. They hung on to beat the Stars, but Tacoma lost at home, dropped 3 points at home after they had started 7-1, a devastating loss for Tacoma. A win for Milwaukee, which really gave them at least through their flight down the next day to Ontario, the absolute inside track at Del Mar Racetrack, that inside post run to get to the MASL Shield. Because if they could beat Empire the next day, they would be a solid 6 points clear of us. They'd be a solid 5 points clear of Kansas City. They'd be just 1 game extra on San Diego. But Empire comes up with an 8-7 win over Milwaukee in a game, not surprisingly, where Empire got off to a good start because Milwaukee was so, dog tired, and then the Wave come back, and apparently they've got an Obasi system to throw as well with their backup keeper, because when they play Perez, he scores goals, and he scored 2 and came up all the time in this game, which was really, really wild and a little bit different to see the opposing keeper score 2. But nonetheless, Empire, in the end result of the weekend, has the best weekend of anybody because they get 5 out of 6 points. They get a regulation win. They're taking on 2 of the top 3 in the weekend, a weekend that you could easily get 0 of 6 points, and instead they get 5. And in doing so, they pass Baltimore with the Blast coming in tomorrow to Toyota Arena for a Thursday night game where they could now go 3 points clear of Baltimore with a victory. Now, the Blast have matches in hand. They're going to have 2 more matches in hand. But Baltimore's 4-4 at home, which is not enough when you're the Baltimore Blast. So I don't know. I think tomorrow's game is one of the most important games of the entire regular season. That's what I'll say. In terms of the bottom of the bracket, this could be the one that decides whether Empire finishes the year as a playoff team or whether it's Baltimore.
Yeah, and they've certainly found some momentum, and they finally, I think, found an identity with that halfway Obasi, halfway classic indoor soccer play. I don't know what it was. Was it the moment where Orozco comes in on Sunday against the Sockers, and that's where the lines are marked between the system and not? But either way, I think the Empire have found an identity, and whether it's a little murky, they found something for sure. But with it, they're taking momentum into this next couple of games, and Baltimore just doesn't have that right now. And, this is the best that Empire has been this season, and they're peaking at a good time where there's still chance, and it's still doing good to your prediction to have them also knock into that last spot for playoffs.
I even said it to Robert Palmer during an interview this weekend, and he was like, "Oh, well, I'm glad you think we're going to make the playoffs." The way he answered, I was like, "I don't know if you agree with me. This is weird," but I've always felt that way, and I'm just going to back it up and say that they have to do it this weekend. They need to get 6 more points because not only do they play tomorrow against Baltimore, which that should be a win. Like I no matter what you think, and Baltimore probably has a couple more higher skill players than Empire, even though the Strikers have finally signed Barbaro Schlier, and they signed another kid with a Eastern European name, and they think they've added some more scoring punch. Baltimore on the road, Baltimore when they cross the country, they have not done well historically in the MASL. So if the Strikers win that game, then on Sunday, they get to host Tacoma when Tacoma's hosting us Saturday night and flying to Ontario Sunday morning. So that's Tacoma's travel, death weekend. And who benefits? Kibono. Empire benefits. Empire got to benefit last weekend. Empire got to benefit this weekend. So we talked about it many times, Tony, on our broadcasts, how Empire started out with this really road-heavy schedule and how the second half of the schedule was going to be much more beneficial. Now we're seeing it play out with consecutive weekends lying in wait advantages. In fact, they had a double lying in wait because Milwaukee had to fly into them on Monday, right? So they're really having the dominoes lined up for them to knock these over and make the playoffs. Now, if they drop a result this weekend, they could kick their own butts out of the playoffs. But if they take care of business, they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to look back at this week as the reason why.
Yeah, and they also have the benefit of having probably the best stat out of any of these players. And you mentioned it off the top against the Sockers, right? Just a clean injury report, especially in the system that they're wearing at this point in this of the year. And they still have an advantage to be able to welcome teams into their home. That's a huge advantage in this scheduling AI just world that we're in now. This is just an incredible time for the Empire Strikers to really make that push and showcase once again. Like, look, last year was unconventional how they were playing, and they made it work with the new system. And this year they started once again with like, well, look, it got figured out. But has it entirely? Is it evolving? Is this something that can continue? And if it's enough to make the playoffs, then it's enough.
I was so confused Sunday. I just got to say it. I mean, you know me. I'm going to say what I think.
Yeah.
Why did Clayson DeLima start the game if he's going to go 5 for 5 on saves and then he's going to be replaced like 3/4 of the way through a power play that started as a 6v4 and then 3/4 of the way they just roll Orozco out there instead of Palmer, and you're like, why now? Why not keep going another 30 seconds? And by the way, Empire's 6v4 power play, sorry, Anua, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's the worst 6v4 power play in the history of the MASL. They never score. They're last in the league. They're last in the bleeping league. And they never don't go 6v4.
Yeah, they've had their chances. Chances have been there.
But anyways, somehow in the last few seconds, I joked on the broadcast and it was like Brian just jumped over the boards. It was like, my turn. He ran in there and then he stayed in the rest of the game. So why didn't he start? Why are we doing openers now? Like Major League Baseball,
lineup?
Where you start with a reliever and then you go to the bulk guy? Like, are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Are we just doing shit to do shit? Like, I really didn't understand that at all. Like, at all. Why? Just the why to it. Like, okay, you want to do this, but why? What's the point?
I want a camera on Orozco when he found out, a la Nathanael Linquist, that he was going into that game, and to see if he was as confused or, wait, are you right now? Okay, let's hop on in.
I don't get it, but I don't have to get it.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is, hey, you know what? DeLima isn't as comfortable in the system that requires him to move up. He wasn't doing that. We even mentioned it, like they're going to that conservative way. And then Obasi just felt it was time to bring on I don't know. Weird.
I think they are a better team without the system. I think they're better without it. I think they're more dangerous without it. I think they play so conservatively and it really mucks the game up. And honestly, I think Sunday's game, if Saturday's game was amazing for the fans, I think Sunday's game for like 45 minutes was terrible for the fans. Like it was ugly, unattractive indoor soccer with dumb decisions, dumb penalties, one team playing at half speed, the other team unable to beat the half speed team with any regularity. There was just really a kind of a feel to Sunday's match. And that's what you get when you schedule games like that. Honestly, that's what you get. Sunday's Strikers Stars game isn't going to be a masterpiece. I mean, that's just what the schedule has spit out. But That's where I see it. Meanwhile, at the top, again, Milwaukee hasn't clinched the Shield yet. I mean, not that they would have officially clinched it, but I think if they had gotten all 6 points this weekend, they would have been in a position where you could almost say, like, let them go. They're on their way. Because remember, we looked at this last week. Milwaukee's last 5 games are at home. Like 2 of them are against Utica. It's a very forgiving schedule. Maybe one is against Tacoma. It's an extremely forgiving schedule, which gives them the opportunity, as long as they're ahead, to finish this out. And, take a look. Well, that's everyone's schedule. See if you can do just for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Noted Wave and occasional Sockers fan Kelsey in the chat says St. Louis has a pretty easy schedule too. We do have to talk about St. Louis. We haven't had to talk about St. Louis at any point this season. They've just been a passenger on the ship, ready at some point to get dropped off. But Paolo might win goalkeeper of the year. He's had a really good year. The team has played defensively pretty decently. They've taken advantage of their schedule, which included these weird, like, bulk schedule moments where it was like, keep playing Kansas City back-to-back every weekend for a while, where they wore teams down and they got shootout results and so on and so forth. And now here they are right in the mix, tied with San Diego. The tiebreakers put them 4th instead of 3rd, but they're tied with San Diego. I believe the only time they face the Sockers is at the Family Arena this year. We can double check that to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that is true. And with a +2 goal differential and a 5-1-1 home record, St. Louis is in this thing, man. I mean, they're definitely in it. They don't have the kind of attack that's gonna shock you. You look up and down the roster, and it's okay. There's the schedule. Yeah, no, it is here. Okay, one time here. Well, that's an important game. That's an important game for San Diego, because look at the rest of it: Utica, Tacoma, Empire at home, Baltimore, home. They got Wave this weekend on the road. That's a big game. They've got a double right there. They got Utica at home, but that's not the worst drive. St. Louis to Milwaukee. It's not the same as Baltimore to Utica. Nonetheless, St. Louis is in this thing. This entire league has been super exciting. There's drama at the top, the middle, and the bottom of the bracket. And other than the dumb AI schedule, this has been one of the best MASL seasons ever.
Yeah, you've had some of the best games too, circumstantially as well. Just unfortunately, you make these situations where you have 2 teams that are very tired, or you have a team that has to meet the occasion. And if they do, you have to give it up to them. And sometimes they find the result. I mean, the San Diego Sockers have had their share as well. But just looking at how exciting and some of the teams that are here, just talking about St. Louis, right? Like St. Louis, you were talking about it on MASL Monday, I believe too. Just like kind of like that hot ones, like, who would have thought? Like, look at us now. Like, they are there. And with all, credit to them, I mean, it looks much better than a Tacoma, and they're -19 goal differential for sure. In the top 4 spot, +2, -19. They're doing something a little better, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, they're defending better is the answer. Teams won 3 in a row, but their goals for is 5.3. So it's right there with Empire, in terms of one of the worst offenses in the Major Arena Soccer League. Your leading goal scorer is a pickup from Texas, Daniel Torrealba. He's got 17 goals. That's a lot of goals. That's more goals than any soccer has. They've got 5 people in double figures total, which is around where San Diego is, so I guess, but the Sockers have got overall higher goal total than St. Louis. I'm just looking up and down this lineup. Daniel Torrealba, Mario Falsone, Jeff Machad, William Eskay, Randy Martinez, Riley Urey, Christian Briggs, Colin O'Keefe, Robert Williamson, John Gates, Robert Christo, Axel Chacunte, Andres Chalbud, Ozzie Santana, James Thomas, Keaton Woods, Julio Varela. You understand why when you read that roster and you read San Diego or Kansas City or Milwaukee's roster or even Empire's roster or Baltimore's roster with Melo and Pereira and everyone else, that you'd figure St. Louis would be bottom half. But they've done it. They've got a good team system. Jeff Locker is going to get Coach of the Year votes. And I think it's not mostly, but I think Paolo is the guy that you can point to in a situation where you've got kind of a who's that offense and you've got a scrappy team defense, having the veteran keeper that is popping up at the top of almost all the lists. I mean, he's 4.84, 729. He's got an assist as well. Paolo's done the job. So hats off to the St. Louis Ambush for being a really tough out here in the MASL this year.
And that's what is making this league exciting. And the questions from preseason of, you're nixing teams, you're nixing some of these franchises, I think it's been for the better, addition by subtraction, and it's created real stakes. I feel every game is much more important, and in this day and age, anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
It's really, really true. So I do look at this weekend as an important weekend because Milwaukee will gain one more game in games played over San Diego. They will play twice to San Diego's once, and they're going to play a back-to-back. They're going to play at CQ Arena against Baltimore, and Baltimore will have flown back from Ontario, have flown cross-country on Friday for that game, and then they will have to fly back to Milwaukee, and they will play early. So it'll be less than 24 hours between starts for the Wave hosting the Ambush. So this is a really, really interesting weekend. It's a chance maybe for St. Louis to sit back on that game on Sunday and try and snipe Milwaukee in Milwaukee's home field. And for San Diego, as we float on over to Soccer's News, means you got to get all 3 points. You got to get all 3 at Tacoma. This is not a time to drop a point to the Stars and leave Tacoma in the discussion. The Stars are doing what the Stars have done, many years, starting 3-0, 4-1, and falling out of the discussion, and winding up somewhere around 500 or below 500 by the end of the year. Water finds its level at some point. But Tacoma's been really good at home, even with the close loss over the weekend to Milwaukee. They played Milwaukee tough. I know they're going to play San Diego tough. And the Sockers will not have Charlie Gonzalez or Tavoy Morgan for this game. Tavoy has been suspended. That's a self-inflicted wound. The great news for Charlie Gonzalez is that the x-rays on Sunday revealed no fracture.
Thank goodness.
And the MRIs on Monday revealed no tears.
Oh, wow.
And Charlie is, fingers crossed, possible to be back before the end of the regular season.
Wow.
And the thought of him being available for the playoffs is pretty confident. So worst case and mid case avoided in so far. Now you'll see how healing, treatment, rehab, how that goes, if something else is revealed, if something doesn't go right, if there's a setback. But once I saw the behind the goal angle that showed that he didn't get his leg pinned, and there was much more of a shock, just like in a basketball game when someone goes up for a rebound and lands on the side of someone's foot instead of landing on the court where they expected. There's a shock to the ankle, the knee, the thigh, the hip, to everything through it. He got thrown to the boards. After that, everyone thought the worst. And it looks like the worst has been avoided, Tony. And that's, just great news for San Diego overall. It's the best news for Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you and we were worried about TST. We were worried about his career. We were thinking about, will he be able to come back from this? If it's a Lindsey Vaughn, if it's a catastrophic multi-bone injury, severe fracture, etc. And that was not the case. So, great news.
Yeah. And you start to do just like, backtrack butterfly effect things like, well, had this not happened, had, he not gotten 2 yellow cards back to back and been cold for 10 minutes, not having that action on the legs that he had with the little rest that he had on the travel, just tired legs, just, overall, it was just the universe is through the worst ingredients, but we somehow got the best of outcomes. And again, that's all power to Charlie and just what an athlete, right? Again, that goes back to genes, goes back to even preparation, just the wrap job, even like just those little details. When it really comes down to it, that avoided a major injury. That I'm glad that those precautions are taken, and just the best to him. And hopefully he's able to come back. And when able to, just this team is going to be better with him. That's whenever that is. This team is going to be better with Charlie Gonzalez.
Of course, he's one of the best players in the whole league. I really thought in the first 6 games of the year that he was trending toward a possible MVP season, like somebody that's first team all league and top 3 MVP, if not win it. And then he got hurt, and the hamstring you knew was going to be a short-term thing, but it takes you out of the conversation. The Kansas City guys get way ahead of you. You get 12, 13 points behind. Now you're out of that talk altogether. But this club needs Charlie. No one is better in the clutch on this current team other than Leo than Charlie. We used to rely on Craig in those moments for the clutch goals and the clutch plays. And at 41, it's tougher to say you've got to do that for us in the moment. But Leo Leo gets the job done. And Charlie gets the job done as well. I think he's a superstar in this league. I think he's needed for San Diego to win the title. I think you need Charlie Gonzalez to beat Milwaukee in a final, or to beat Kansas City in a semi, or Milwaukee in a semi, however the schedule breaks out. So, or to beat Empire in a first round if you finish third, I've thought about that, man.
Mm-hmm.
First and second gets a bye, third gets 6th, and if 6th is Empire likes their chances. You can't beat them in the season series now. They've beaten you 3 times. You got one more chance. But they're a good matchup against San Diego. They're younger, they're faster, they're healthier, and I don't know. Somehow they hold their own scoring down, but they're a tough team for San Diego to beat. I think that's clear. We keep saying, well, when the Sockers full team gets together, but when's that going to happen?
Yeah.
Every time we think it's about to happen, some other shoe drops, and there's 4 games before Tavoy comes back, who gets hurt in between. I mean, knock wood, nobody, but it's still, that's not been the case all year. All year, like every week, something's happened.
Yeah. And I mean, sorry, but in this case,
that's it.
Too, right? Like a Cardenas, right, who was missing on Sunday. Like that could have been the determining factor to beat Empire. But that's one of those things that you're talking about, that between here and now, who knows what's going to happen on some of these travel days, on just the miles that the players have. But yeah, I mean, the fact that the Sockers are still doing this good, though, is a testament to this team, individual and as a team itself.
Third weekend of March, the Sockers in Kansas City play this exact same stupid back-to-back. Saturday in Kansas City, Sunday at Front Wave Arena. The only good news is it's both of them doing it and not just one of them. So it means we'll have a really crappy game on Sunday with both teams exhausted out on the floor, but at least it's even footing, and then on March 27th and 29th, it's 27th play in Kansas City. At least they get one travel day, which should be the bare minimum. And then they get to play the 29th in San Diego. So there's still a lot more travel to come on the season. There's this trip, but at least it's just one a week. And for 3 straight weeks, the Sockers only play 1 game a week. And I think that's what they need to really get healthy. I don't think Mitchell will be available this weekend. I don't know that, but I don't think he'll be available. But Chris Toth should be available. Now, whether he'll start or whether Boris will start, Chris is back. So the wait is over. San Diego can get back to the goal. And so, for example, on that 14th and 15th, you can pick and say, Boris, you can play in Kansas City, in front of your kids, in front of your family. Chris, don't make the trip. Natty, make the trip with us. Come on out. You're the backup that day. Tomorrow, Chris will start and Boris will be the backup, in San Diego. Pee-wee is still out, but we'll see. I saw him getting treatment today and I saw him on the floor today. So, questionable, possible. You got one game in Tacoma. This club needs to clutch up and pull a dub out of Tacoma this weekend. They will not win the Shield if they lose this game.
Yeah.
In Tacoma. If they take their 7th loss and their 2nd loss up against the Stars in Kent, Washington, they will not win the Shield. They can win the Shield if they get 3 points. And the way the rest of the weekend breaks out might make that path clear. But a loss is going to really screw them over. And then it's going to be about, can we finish 2nd? Can we fight our way toward that bye? Maybe, but you'd have Kansas City in front of you to beat to get that bye. So, the world's not over if you don't win the Shield, but the Shield winner is going to have an inside track to the championship. And I think a lot matters this weekend. Just like this last weekend, a lot mattered. I think a lot matters this weekend. Milwaukee plays twice. You play once. You've got a chance to get 3 points and to see what the Wave do and see if they drop a result, somewhere along the line. You lose that game, St. Louis can pass you. And then all of a sudden, you're chasing 3 teams.
Yeah.
Now, and you only get 1 shot at the ambush the whole year. So, big game. Big game. This Saturday. Sneaky big game.
Yeah. Sockers just need to be methodical, enjoy the space between games, recover, but just execute. That's what I need to do. Just sharpen up those skills, sharpen up everything. Have the new kids come in as well if you need them and get them acclimated. We've seen Juancho come in. We've seen Reyes also do good stuff, but let's start to get some momentum going and be consistent. Like that's the thing that's what they need to do. Just be consistent and it'll carry it, and worry about just the Sockers and what they're going to do. Doesn't matter who's in front of them. Anywhere, anytime, the Sockers should be able to go ahead and get these next couple points, starting with Tacoma.
And I agree in closing with what Susan just wrote. It seemed more important when Chihuahua was in the league. That's because Chihuahua was a super team with an undefeatable home location at altitude, small size, giant crowd, crazy refs, crazy everything. Impossible.
If you thought the third quarter score bug fiasco was a fiasco at all,
just imagine having, like the coach headlock an opposing player with no penalty or nothing. Actually, have the head of officials tell me to my face, didn't happen. Didn't happen. You must have just seen it wrong. You're far away.
I imagine you just waking up sometimes in a cold sweat, just like nothing, just in disbelief, like still nothing was called.
In a bigger league, I would have lost my job for that. For countering their narrative.
Yeah.
But this one, it just went away and they never put up the replay.
So look for it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I told the truth. I said what I saw and I narrated the action just like I do for every game that I'm contracted to announce. Yeah. I narrated the action. I said what happened. And nobody wanted to deal with that. And I get it, man, because at that point the game was close and I was really wondering what was going to happen at the end of that night.
Yeah.
It's going, what was going to happen at the end of this night? I don't know. If the Sockers win, what's going to happen? As Kanye said, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
As Kanye also said, I'm going to let you finish. You can go ahead and roll the music and we'll get rolling out of this episode of Soccer's Overtime. We deeply appreciate everybody for their patronage of this program, of the Sockers, and Major League Soccer League. But of course, the San Diego soccer ecosystem is much larger than just the indoor world. Tony, tell everybody what's going on at SanDiego.Futbol.
Well, this is the home of San Diego soccer. Yesterday, because of this great adventure, we were able to host a opening of a street soccer San Diego pitch that had a couple of soccers make their way out there. Saw Pato, saw Sanchez, and ¿a quién más? We sent Callahan? I believe so.
I saw Sanchez and Pato in the highlight. I didn't see. So
yeah, well, they were out there making an impact in the community. But you can check everything out at SanDiego.Futbol. I might release some Anthony Bourdain Snapdragon Stadium food tasting things I did. It was weird.
Oh, I knew you were there.
It was interesting. Oh, hey.
Hector Trujillo called you out.
Yeah, as he does. But you can check everything out at SanDiego.Futbol.
I would like to enjoy your tasting menu video, and I hope you do put that out. Tony and I will be back tomorrow with Alex Pena for another tentacle of the SanDiego.Futbol octopus, which is the Cromaniacs, your number one independent San Diego FC podcast. And we will be recording that show and then putting it up here on YouTube as well as your feed. So you can find that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever platform you use. Check out the Cromaniacs. That will be our official SDFC MLS season preview. We'll have sound from Training Ground tomorrow. You're going to want to hear that before Saturday's game against Montreal FC at home at Snapdragon Stadium. And after the Sockers match and the SDFC match, Tony and Alex Pena and I will be on live with a post-match show for SDFC and Montreal. So be ready for that. That will be live on YouTube here on SanDiego.Futbol. So check that out if you are an outdoor fan as well. Go back to Two Balls and a Mic, where they cover all of this, as well as San Diego Wave FC and everything else. If you're a Padres fan, latest episode of Padres Hot Tub is a joyous one. You can find it here on YouTube, where we discuss Preller's extension and all of the various dime store pitchers they've picked up and whether any of them can turn a dime into a dollar. And speaking of, sending a shekel our way, if you go to patreon.com/PadresHot, you can be part of a really, really cool community that loves baseball, loves the Padres, and, talk some soccer there as well. But just if you happen to be a Padres fan, you can check that out for yourself. That's me side hustle and something that's going quite well. We actually did this week, Tony, and we released it on the main feed. We did for our patrons, as part of our Banter the Show, which is a show we do just for our patrons. We did a full episode of Family Feud. We did the Padres Hot Tub Family Feud with questions that had 100 patrons surveyed and were all about the Padres. And we played the whole game. And I was Richard Dawson, and it was really, really fun. So you can check that out if you'd like. If you love Bobby Cressy, get a ticket for his show on March 20th in El Cajon, as he's going to replay this song and everything else on Cali Native. Bobby is the man who offers us the theme. And that's it for the plugs for the show. Thanks for everyone who got to the end. If you haven't hit thumbs up yet, please do that. For Tony Sanchez, for Nate Linquist, I'm Craig Elston saying thanks for being here. And until we talk to you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock live,